The music that signifies another edition of Get a Better Broadcast podcast and video voice. Now, do you know how question marks are used? Of course you do. When you read a question, you go up at the end of the sentence. Do you understand? Like that. But the problem we've got in written English is that the indication that it's going to be a question, and therefore the indication that you've got an uptone, comes at the end of the sentence. And that's well after we could have started the change in the voice to go up. Now, that's not a problem necessarily if you can do several things. I mean, there's sight read a few words in advance of what you're actually saying, see the script beforehand, and remember where the questions are. So it may be easier for you to circle any question mark on your script so you can correctly intonate the question sentence appropriately. Does that make sense? There's another question for you. The grammatical structure of written Spanish doesn't allow for an indication at the start of a sentence that it'll turn out to be a question. In English, by comparison, we might actually start a question with who, what, when, where, why, or how. But how sentences are composed in Spanish doesn't actually have that structure. So, what can they do? Well, they indicate to the reader in Spanish another way that it's going to be a question at the start rather than at the end of a sentence, as we do. It's a kind of opening question mark. You've probably seen it, an upside down question mark at the start of a sentence in written Spanish tells you that this is a question before you start reading that sentence, rather than telling you it's a question when you get to the end of it. And that means it's easier for you to put in the correct intonation. Interesting stuff, eh? I'm Peter Stewart. Tomorrow on the show, marking up for tone as Get a Better Broadcast podcast and video voice continues. Whose tone?